And hi. Okay. Common phrases you hear nowadays from the older generation to the younger generation. It's always been like this, is kiddos, they don't know what they're doing these days. They're running amok. They're doing stuff we would have never done when we were kids. They don't know the difference between right and wrong. But how do these phrases really help the younger generation? They don't. And you just say, me and us as an older generation, we just say these things and we move on about our lives. Doesn't really do that much for the younger generation. But what I'm going to talk to you about today is Midnight Basketball. And this program is something I can get behind because I think it's going in the right direction. It's what we need for kids nowadays. What Midnight Basketball is a state-run program, government-run program, where between the times of 10 o'clock and 2 a.m., kids can go to a facility, a state-run facility, and play basketball. But the caveat with playing this basketball is that you have to attend a class either before or after this basketball game, and they have leagues and all this kind of stuff. So during these classes, what you do is it's a mentorship. They teach you life skills. They help you through problems, stuff like that, and they get you set up with a good adult to get these juveniles on the right track. So definitely something I can get behind. It was introduced by Democrats back in the early 80s, or late 80s, early 90s. And it was mixed reviews. It's still going on to this day. Inner cities, Chicago, New York, all that kind of stuff. They have all these leagues, and it's still going on. But once again, mixed reviews. But I think it's on the right track. I think it's something we need nowadays. And there's a lot of pros to this, and not a lot of cons to Midnight Basketball. So first and foremost, let's look at some hard facts. Hard facts are that in 1996, juvenile arrests were at an all-time high, which was 8,476 kiddos per 100,000. So that's a lot of kiddos sitting in jail. Now, in 2018, you're looking at 2,407 per 100,000 people. That is a 72% decrease from 1996 to 2018. That is a lot of kids staying out of jail, which is fantastic. And while we can't contribute this whole number to just Midnight Basketball, I think this number goes with programs like Midnight Basketball that are helping kids stay out of jail, stay out of facilities and juvenile detention, all that kind of stuff. So, and this study was done by the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, so federal study, it's backed, and it's good solid numbers, it's not just made up. So, Midnight Basketball, it keeps kiddos out of jail, which is the whole point of a program like this. Gives them an outlet, gives them a sense of community, because kiddos, once they do go to jail, they're in that tight enclosed space with whole other kids that also did the same, similar bad things. And they get together and they reinforce it, and it's just not a good spot. Where this Midnight Basketball gives them another outlet with positive reinforcement, good mentors, being surrounded by kids that want to play basketball and enjoy the time together. So, along with that, they're, like I said, mixed success with Midnight Basketball, but they're in Chicago in 2009. They started a program called Safety Nets. This is kind of like the next step in Midnight Basketball. This is actually aimed not necessarily to juveniles. This is young adults, 18 to mid-20s. It's a branch off from it, but I think it's had such good success that it showed a need for these programs, not necessarily just for juveniles, but for early and young adults as well. So this was set up by the Illinois Department of Human Services. So what does that look like? Why state-run? Why not private? Why not just let the kids go and play, all that kind of stuff? Well, I was a cop down in New Mexico for about 5 years. And during that time, there was a basketball court on the east side. And I was on night shift a lot. So that meant I saw a lot of preteens and teens and young adults all playing on this court until 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. But Hobbs had a curfew. So those teens weren't allowed out past 10 o'clock. But did I ever stop them? Did any other cop ever stop them from playing basketball? Absolutely not. We left them alone. We let them play do what they needed to do, because you don't want Officer Jerk coming up and be like, hey guys, it's 10 o'clock, go home. Or even worse, give them a citation and say, hey, tell your mom and dad they got to pay this fine now because you're out past 10 o'clock playing basketball. So what that does is destroy that. They can no longer go and play this basketball. And obviously they're coming from homes where parents don't really care what they're doing at 2 or at 10 till 2 at night. So what are they going to do now? They can't go play basketball. They can't go hang out with their friends and have a positive outlet. So they could be doing a lot worse things and be more harmful to society. So, but the drawbacks of that, just letting the kids play, is you don't know who's coming onto that court. You don't know who's playing with those kiddos. So with a state-run program, it's people are vetted, it's an organized event, and it gives them classes before and after basketball. So it's not just kiddos just playing basketball, it actually gives them positive, reinforcing life skills. So it's much more positive, but that's what it's supposed to look like. That's what it's supposed to be, is keep those kids out of those streets from causing damage, from committing crime, and actually having a positive outlet. So how can you support these programs? Well, if you are monetarily inclined, you can go to local pages. Midnight Basketball has a page where you can go and donate to help them out. But like I said, mostly it's state run, so it's taxes. So where you can really help the most out with programs like this is looking at your local legislature and your state legislature and look at the upcoming ballot and see if there's any programs like this where you can vote to have more taxes to and get good funding for programs like this to help our kiddos out. If not, if you not really politically or monetarily inclined, what you can do is go to your local not shelters, but local programs and see if you can volunteer your time. It's free, and all they need is like a coach, a referee, scoreboard, or a mentor. You can go see if you can volunteer for these things. It's free. You can just donate your time and help these kiddos out, have them stay off the streets. So the ultimate goal for everyone is it gives these kids a sense of belonging. It gives them, instead of feeling that in a jail or in a gang or getting that sense of belonging some other way besides a positive outlet, they can go hang out, get these awesome life classes, but most of all, it keeps them out of jail. That's the whole point. Kiddos don't need to be in jail, have that negative reinforcement, negative interactions with law enforcement, and it gives them a brighter future, which is what we all want. We don't want our kids, we don't want anyone's kids having that situation and being in that negative environment. So with all that being said, you can, who's willing to look at the at least local legislation and see if they can vote or maybe donate time. Can I see a raise of hands? There we go. Oh, all right. That's what I like to see. So, together we can come together and get these programs all set up and help these kiddos out, rather than just saying, "Oh, kids these days," and give them a positive outlook. Thank you.
Third time.